Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Go Home episode to Elimination Chamber, where Sami Zayn got his final words in amongst a crowd that was absolutely next level. Man, oh man, they have really made tomorrow night feel like it's going to be something special. Also, we've got a ton of news to cover as well, including I don't have the notes in front of me, Larson. What are we talking about on notes on news
about
today?
WWE pursuing another free agent.
Oh yeah,
Not Jay White.
that's right.
Who is mystery free agent? Watch and find out. Also, first story we got here. I don't know if you heard this, Steve.
Yeah.
WWE's for sale.
That's what the rumor mill is talking about.
So if you want to try to shake some change out of that couch back there, maybe you can muster enough together to put a bid in. But we got our first idea. There you go.
Solid quarter. American.
2 bits.
American.
Steve, offer 2 bits. We got our first idea of what WWE's asking price is, courtesy of Bloomberg today, with the outlet reporting, quote, Vince McMahon is looking to get as much as $9 billion in a potential sale of World Wrestling Entertainment. You're going to need more than 2 bits, Steve. The company has already received offers, said the people, who requested they not be identified because discussions are private. WWE declined to comment. Bloomberg, though, notes, quote, McMahon may not find many buyers eager to pay his price considering the shaky global economy, the rising interest rates. The valuation of $9 billion amounts to about 7 times the company's $1.29 billion in sales last year, and is 23 times its adjusted operating income before depreciation and amortization, both at the high end for the entertainment industry.
Why stop at $9 billion? Ask for $10 bazillion. Start getting into numbers that don't even make sense. No, this number actually does make some sense. Their market cap is almost $7 billion.
Yeah, a little below 7, yeah.
And usually you take the market cap and then you add a couple bills to it if it's already to that level. But the interesting thing about that is the economy now is not what the economy was a year ago. It's a lot different now, and it might be different in a year from now. But no, nine bills. If the lingo of succession is to be taken into account. Give me 2 bills, Dad. Give me 2 bills, and I'll leave. $9 billion seems in line with what I kind of figured, given what their stock price has been, and what. I mean, dude, when you go back to the last TV deal, and the only X factor was, would live streaming rights, would live digital media rights for something as prominent as WWE, would that stagnate or would it go down? And the answer, there was no indication to indicate that it would go down. And it's everything's gone up. Like everything's going up. And so
I will to counter that. I know I thought I read somewhere that TNT wasn't going to renew their deal with the NBA. I just read somewhere that Disney was going to reevaluate. ESPN airs NBA basketball as well. They were going to reevaluate that as well. Some of these media rights licensing deals that networks have with various leagues is for an astronomical amount of money. And if there are fears about a cooling, slowing economy, then you got these giant media conglomerates that might not be so willing to write checks for the billions of dollars to air programming, much less buy a wrestling promotion.
Do you know when? I'm just sort of curious about the NBA thing. When the negotiations are set to begin?
Pretty soon.
Oh, is it? Wow.
I thought so.
Yeah, it's just bad timing because the economy right now, it's all crap. And so, but if things had been on the same trajectory as they were a year ago, I'm sure. I wonder if those same fears would be, taken into account. I know. Look, we're coming out of a global pandemic, which clearly has affected everything. And so this was bound to happen from an economic standpoint, but it is affecting everything. Now, what that means for the WWE, are they going to get the $9 billion? It remains to be seen. There are companies out there who have that. I know one of the players involved, Endeavor, They have I think a valuation or a net worth or whatever of about 10 billion. So they would need additional financing.
Yeah, they'd have to finance that. Yeah,
additional partners involved, perhaps. But they're interested. And then, of course, there's the Saudi government still out there. So who knows how this is all going to play out?
Yeah.
The number itself isn't terribly surprising, though. But what is going to be interesting is just how much the current economy. I mean, do you think that? Look, things go down, things go back up. Would this, I wonder, mean that they would get one last big TV rights deal, or at least try to get one last big TV rights deal, and then be able to wait for the economy for the, to improve, and then get that $9 billion?
That's a roll of the dice, though.
It is, absolutely.
That's a massive roll of the dice because, say, for example, whatever price they could get now, maybe it's not even close to $9 billion or something like that. Like, all right, we'll wait. Well, if you wait 3 or 4 more years, it's not to say that it's going to get anywhere close back to $9 billion. It could just all be a wash. It's interesting in the Bloomberg report, you mentioned Endeavor. They were included as possible buyers in this Bloomberg article, and then also the Saudi Public Investment Fund. They were the two named most prominently, and in the, if I remember correctly, in the Bloomberg article, it said 2 other prospective buyers that are usually on the list might be a bit more wary about. Let me pull it up real quick if it'll load. Potentially purchasing WWE. Were
they like you,
Netflix
like
and Disney?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I mean, if it's affecting everybody, I had not heard that about the NBA, but that's interesting. And it's also kind of not terribly surprising given that Warner Brothers Time Warner, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
Warner Discovery. Thank you, God. I don't know why. They're a mess. They're an absolute mess, and they're looking at cost cutting. Who knows if that's a bluff or not? I mean, what are they just going to run reruns of Big Bang Theory all day long? I know that does well for them, but it's also cheap programming.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know how this is going to all work out. If Netflix is able maybe to con everybody into, keeping their passwords secret, maybe they'll have some extra money laying around.
Gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. And you also have to wonder, like, how much the global economy playing into this might affect the Saudi Arabia deal, because, they're like, hey, we've got plenty. We're good. We can just go ahead and do it. If nobody else is willing to pony up, if the next highest deal is $7 billion, and the Saudis are offering $9 billion, you better believe that's probably going to happen. You would think. I mean, it just makes
at that point, it's, fiduciary duty and such, the company risk getting sued by shareholders to not take that deal. Yeah. And
like you said, waiting on Comcast, that's a risk, that's a risk. So we'll see how this plays out, and if this is going to affect the sale of the company the way the economy is playing out right now, and this big figure that Vince McMahon wants. I feel like if it was a year ago, maybe they could have got it. Right now, I can understand that, with the way the economy is going.
And especially, another wrinkle to that is if Vince is trying to use the sale of the company to leverage some position for himself into too.
You're also seeing that's true as well. That's definitely true. You also have to wonder if the streaming wars, given that there are some, they're the beginnings of signs of how shaky the whole streaming wars are. Disney reportedly, their streaming service is losing like whatever it is, $1 billion a year, or whatever it is.
It's a ton of money. Yeah.
It's a ton of money, even though Disney as a company is still profitable. The streaming service seemingly isn't. All that's going to come to a head. It really is, between what Warner Brothers Discovery is doing with HBO Max, Netflix losing subscribers left and right. With the economy the way it is, people are going to have to pick and choose. Okay, which streaming service am I going to hold on to? Or we'll just go to YouTube and watch videos for free.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how this all plays out.
It will. Another thing, be interested to see how it plays out. Free agent market in wrestling coming up the next year and a half or so. Of course, Jay White, he could be a free agent soon. Apparently, there's be some other free agents maybe on the market in the near future that could be heading to WWE. So in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer talks about Jay White's impending free agency and notes that signing Jay isn't necessarily WWE's top priority now. Instead, they have their sights on another free agent. You want to take this Meltzer quote, Steve?
Absolutely. Says this. It is not clear, and I'm sorry, I don't have the AI Dave Meltzer emulator here with me, so you're just going to have to deal with Steve. It is not clear what is next for White, although one would suspect WWE or AEW would be his next destination because nothing else would make sense. Those in WWE who would normally know of major acquisitions during Mania season didn't know about this one and only said that there was a much bigger free agent in play right now that was internally the priority. Who is this mystery free, end quote. Who is this mystery free agent? According to WrestlingNews.co, this mystery free agent is, of course, the cleaner, Kenny Omega. Fightful Select reported today that, quote, several in the company believe they have a chance to land Kenny Omega. Fightful was also told that despite the, as Tony Khan puts it, war between AEW and WWE, that Omega has a positive relationship with WWE and especially Triple H when discussing the potential of heading to the company in late 2018. There is apparently some uncertainty about when Omega's AEW contract expires, though. According to Fightful, Omega's contract does contain language which would allow Tony Khan to extend the deal to account for time missed due to injury. In Kenny Omega's case, multiple injuries compounded over a long period of time.
Yes.
Sources have told
multiple months missed. Yeah.
Sources have told Fightful that they have heard Tony Khan mention that substantial time could be added to Omega's contract, but sources weren't able to confirm if injury time had been added to Omega's deal yet. Larson, let me ask you this.
What's that?
Why would Tony Khan add time to a person's deal if all he's doing is using him for 3 minutes on a random episode of Dynamite playing basketball?
Because he wants those same type vignettes featured for months on it. That's why.
Because he loves those 3-minute vignettes.
He loves
That's
seeing
why.
which member of the elite can palm a basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you would imagine they have.
I know they're on Rampage tonight. They were on Rampage.
They had a match on Rampage tonight. Apparently, they're setting up their next feud. No spoilers on that.
Yeah.
If WWE's got the sense that Kenny is potentially a free agent, you do what you can to sign him.
Yeah.
And not just because he's an outstanding talent, great mind for the business, one of the best wrestlers in the world still.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you do it. WWE does it. Stick it to AEW.
Ooh.
I listened to a little bit and read some transcripts. Kenny was on Swerve City.
Great. Yeah.
Swerve's podcast.
Yeah.
And he was talking on there quite a bit about how telling stories is important to him when it comes to professional wrestling. And I know Kenny's known for the spectacular matches, but he's a damn good storyteller.
Yeah.
And I wonder, this is just speculation on my part now, where we see him and the elite stuck in 3-minute vignettes where they're trying to palm a basketball rather than telling stories like they were with Kenny and Hangman Page.
Yeah.
That if Kenny looks at WWE, it's like, okay, well, there's an emphasis on storytelling now, much more than there was when Vince was there. I might not get the creative freedom I would in AEW, but at the same time, you would think he would get input. And just with kind of the scattershot approach to creative right now in AEW, it doesn't seem like he's going to get any opportunity to really tell the stories that he would like to tell in AEW. I could see it. Plus, you finish out his career, the largest wrestling organization in the world. I mean, I could see the appeal of it. I understand he's, the goal of forming AEW is to establish an alternative to the WWE kind of corporate wrestling monolith. And they've done that. And I think for, even if every member of the elite leaves, if Kenny and the Young Bucks leave, I think AEW would probably be all right.
Oh, I think they'd be fine.
It would be a shot. It would hurt.
Yeah.
But there's enough really good talent in AEW that they would be fine.
They're not being used. They're not being. They're not. It's like, they'd be fine. They would survive as a company, and I think they're going to survive as a company because there's enough room in the media landscape for AEW. Honestly, it takes them cracking how to do stories right. We talked about this endlessly. Like, you just get a couple stories right, and it'll be good. But no, I think they'll be fine as a company. And I think that there would definitely be an appeal to Kenny Omega. I mean, what is this? This was who was this? Dark Puroresu Flosion tweeted out having talked to Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi mentioning WWE as something he'd love to go if it allowed him to coach people at the Performance Center.
Yeah.
Which why wouldn't WWE want that as well?
I know.
I think a lot. So the only thing on the horizon that could potentially put a stop to any of this would be the acquisition of WWE by who knows who, and is Vince McMahon going to be back? Does he see anything? But evidently, Triple H had carte blanche to bring in Kenny Omega back in 2018. That was under Vince McMahon. And again, sticking it to AEW, probably something they'd love to do. They'd love to have the elite out of AEW, out of all elite. They'd love to have all the elite.
It'd just be all wrestling.
Then it'd be all wrestling. Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of what the company is anyways.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say that myself.
You threw that to me. That was a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think that Kenny would probably, they kept him on, he came back and then he got suspended for trying to help a dog, and getting bit by a guy in the process.
Yeah, he got bit by a human, not dog.
Sorry, I got to clarify that.
Yeah, I was making sure.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I could totally see it. He's got friends there. He's got friends there. Sorry, my cat just growled. And yeah, no, I kind of expected that. I'll be honest. I kind of like ever since like the Brawl Out situation. But also when you talk about the creative freedom he has in AEW, does he? Like, I think he probably can book some stuff that he wants to book. I'm sure that him and the Young Bucks probably have control of the trios division. And we've read that, he has some involvement in the women's division or has in the past. They get featured not that much. So I don't know how much of a creative Disneyland this is for Kenny Omega. And yeah, if he likes Triple H, go ahead and have at it. I'll be right back. My dog found her squeaky toy.
Uh-oh. Got a barking cat to take care of. Yeah, no, I mean, at a certain point, it would have really surprised me to see any member of the Elite, outside of Cody maybe, go to WWE. But at this juncture, given kind of a little bit of upheaval in AEW around the Brawl Out era, at this juncture, no, I don't think it would necessarily surprise me, no.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and did I say dog? I meant cat. You guys know what I meant. Anyways, before we get to our Smackdown recap, Larson, would you like to pay some bills?
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break here, friendos. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp, Steve.
Yes.
It took me a number of years to find out what I'm like when I'm at my best. And I know I've talked about this quite a bit here on the show. When I was in my mid-20s, I was feeling really overwhelmed by life. Started dealing with severe anxiety, and it got to the point where I made the realization that I needed to go to therapy. And while it took me a while to find someone I felt comfortable talking to, working with a therapist eventually helped me find better ways to cope with my anxiety, empowered me to be more prepared for whatever life throws my way, and hopefully set me on the path becoming a better Larson.
Oh, man, I think you're well on that path, Larson. And if you're thinking about giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, it's flexible, it's affordable, and it's completely online. All you got to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get you matched up with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/raw.
Hell of a Smackdown tonight, punctuated by Sami Zayn returning home to Montreal.
Yeah.
And speaking a lot of French, and the crowd was giving Roman the what for. I was kind of, I didn't know whether or not it was a great idea to have Sami Zayn, that first big Montreal pop for him, happen on the go home. And rather, would it have been a better idea to do it at Elimination Chamber? I think given that this was just an amazing moment for him that I think will be amplified several-fold tomorrow when it's time for the big fight. I think, I have no idea if there would have been any debate internally about whether or not we should do this or hold off for the pay-per-view, but I thought it was a good decision in the end. I thought this was a really awesome moment for. Over the past couple of weeks, since Sami left the bloodline, what's one thing whenever he talks to somebody and he has something urgent to tell him, he always says, I don't know if I don't know if I'll be able to tell this, say this to you afterward, after what happens in Elimination Chamber. And this felt like one of those things where tomorrow is going to be some sort of breaking point. Like something is going to go down tomorrow. We all have an idea, but, and I don't want to get too much into it, but apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, there were plans for tomorrow and those plans might be changing. Yeah. And there's a lot more detail about that, and who knows? I mean, it's Meltzer, and I know the joke is, oh, well, plans change, and then Meltzer's wrong. Yeah. But if they have given a second thought to whatever the original plans were, and are thinking, hey, we might go a different direction, tonight might be an important night for Sami to get this in and say what he has to say. I thought that it was a good idea in the end. And given especially how short it was was just a punctuation mark on this awesome storyline, and Sami getting this moment before the storm, I thought was a really great idea.
Yeah, it allows Sami, as mentioned, to get this moment independent of what's happening tomorrow night. He gets the hometown reaction. He gets to soak it in. And seemingly it's like, okay, you get 10 minutes. You get the final segment. Soak it in. Say as much or as little as you want to. It's up to you, you know?
Yeah.
Just soak up that moment. And it's a great visual for Sami heading into the match too.
For sure. Yeah.
Where he's got, 15,000 fans all behind him. And you're watching this as the go home show and saying, oh, wow, there's a movement here to get Sami, to push Sami towards beating Roman. And in that sense, in terms of letting him get the moment independent of what happens tomorrow, as you said before the storm hits. No, I think it worked out. And then, I'd anticipate whatever story beats we get tomorrow is only going to make even more sense while they have this moment tonight and not at the show. Yeah. Not at Elimination Chamber. Yeah,
I get that feeling. And I think also doubly, given the last time we saw Sami, I think was when he confronted Cody. Was he on? Yeah. Yeah, when he confronted, was that this week? That was this week, wasn't it? That was this past Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know if I could do this. I feel like Sami as a character needed this validation from the crowd to get him jazzed up, and makes all the sense in the world.
It does. It really does.
And yeah, the speaking in the French and all that stuff, and the crowd going crazy. They literally had to black out the screen, because the crowd shots where they were clearly saying, fuck you, Roman, were so crystal clear that Fox was like, hey, this is a network.
Can't do that.
Can't do it. But then you look,
network television.
They like, it's still silent. They go to like a long shot of Sami, and you can clearly see a dude in the front row. It was awesome. It was a great moment. It was really great.
It was great. It was great. Something interesting happened on SmackDown tonight. So Hit Row comes out to do a performance. They're interrupted by not just Uncle Howdy, but Bray Wyatt too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They get taken out. And then Bray grabs the mic and just says, I'll paraphrase here. We'll get into it more when we do the recap of the show. Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, I'm watching your match. Whoever walks out, I'm coming for you next.
Yeah, man.
And it's an interesting choice of opponent either way for Bray, because both Bobby and Brock are so grounded in reality in terms of their characters.
Yeah, for sure.
That you have Bray, who is at various times has been a cult leader, a supernatural being, maybe. There's not a whole lot of the iteration of Bray they're doing now is trying to be a little bit more grounded, maybe.
Oof, yeah. I mean, it is, but that's comparative.
Comparative.
I mean, I guess, the original, I'll let you finish your point here in a second. The original iteration of Bray Wyatt was, I think, probably the most grounded version of him, because he was just basically cult leader. Like, he wasn't really supernatural. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
But, I guess if you take the logical step from feuding with LA Knight, who is the opposite of a grounded character.
Right, yeah.
He's a completely one-dimensional character in every sense of the imagination. Then you go to two super grounded characters.
Yeah, right.
You're going from one extreme to the other with Bray. it's gonna be interesting seeing the results of him feuding with either Bobby or Brock. I don't know what to expect. You worry with Brock, is he into Bray's work? Is he interested in this bout? Or if he's not, you worry it's gonna be another Ambrose situation.
Dude, it just struck me. What was the last guy to have a big moment with Bray Wyatt? Was The Undertaker. Mm-hmm. And Brock and The Undertaker are linked at the hip when it comes to feuding, and Undertaker, like you said, it all depends. It all depends on two things, I think. Number one, does Brock like the guy? Yeah. Is Brock interested in this? Now, I think Brock, without the pressure of worrying about titles, he looks like he's having fun.
He does.
He legitimately looks like he's having fun. And I think, the worry, of course, obviously, is that this is going to be a Dean Ambrose situation. And I wonder if Brock had an issue with Dean Ambrose because Ambrose was an indie tough guy. Mm-hmm. And Brock likes tough guys,
Yeah.
Like Bobby's a legit tough guy, you know?
Yeah.
Bray is a different beast because he is very sports entertainment. Mm-hmm. And if Brock buys into that, we can have something really interesting.
It all depends on if Brock buys into this at all. Yeah.
And if Brock feels that the other thing is if Brock feels like this is going to be a good drawing feud for him, I mean, I know that he gets paid whatever regardless, but Brock is that old school type who's like, I want to make sure this is a money feud and it's going to, it's going to be a big deal. And I don't think he saw that with Dean Ambrose, but he's seen it in a million other people. Yeah. Rey Mysterio, Bryan Danielson, Finn Balor,
AJ. He's
seen it in a lot of other guys. And I don't know. It all depends. Like you said, can they get on the same page? Is Bray the type who's backstage going to fit in with Brock backstage so they can collaborate and come up with something pretty interesting? Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of the Undertaker stuff wasn't really even Powers of the Darkness Undertaker. It was, for a spell, Undertaker was trying to be MMA Undertaker,
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? Are they going to allow Bray Wyatt? Is Brock going to be cool with Bray getting a little bit meta? Is he going to be doing some Firefly Funhouse type shit? I'm sorry, the Firefly Funhouse match Cena stuff.
Yeah.
With Brock, which could, again, be very interesting.
That could be great, yeah.
It could be super interesting. And if Brock sells that stuff, hey, could be some of the most interesting stuff at WrestleMania.
It could. It all depends on how invested Brock is in it.
If Bobby wins tomorrow, Bobby, he'll work with anybody.
Yeah, I like whatever concerns I have about Bray feuding with Brock in terms of Brock's investment in the story, I don't have with Bobby. You put Bobby in a story, he's invested, he puts his all into it.
He'll do everything he can to put it over. Yeah. But especially given Brock's history, he's also an OVW guy like Cena. He's got that same sort of, marquee appeal that Cena had. Mm-hmm. There could be some really interesting stuff. I mean, it was crazy how much Cena was invested in the Firefly Funhouse stuff and how open he was to do all that stuff, because that would talk about creatively a risk. Mm-hmm. Let's go film a bunch of crazy shit at the WWE warehouse.
Well, it's also here. Let's open up your career.
Yeah.
For essentially critical analysis. That's what Firefly Funhouse
Which we know
was.
Cena is totally fine with. That video of him analyzing his first match was, if you haven't seen that.
Oh, it's something else.
It is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Analyzing his first match is great.
I mean, the Firefly Funhouse match, there's a lot of things, and one of the things it is an essay on the career of John Cena.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a possibility there for something really good to happen. Either way, but yeah, if it involves Brock, he's got to be invested. Otherwise, it could fall on his face. It
could be so much fun, though. It really could be really interesting. Brock still has that very scary vibe.
Oh yeah,
like just even what was it at the Rumble, putting that ref over the barricade. It's like, oh my god, this guy's terrifying still to this day.
Picking up the ring steps and slamming on the announce table.
Yeah, yeah, all that stuff, man. It was like a freaking bear. Yeah, it was crazy.
And then storming off.
Let's talk about Madcap Moss had a big opportunity against Gunther, the Ring General. dude, this was sort of one of those, like, you go one of two ways with this match. Either Madcap really shockingly takes Gunther
to his limit, yeah.
To his limit, and it makes Madcap look like $1 million. Or Gunther squashes him. And
we saw neither of those things tonight.
Neither of those things.
It was just kind of, it was middle. It was middle of the road. Moss got just enough in to make you think, well, maybe he could be competitive, but he didn't get enough in to have that really stellar showing against a dominant champion.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it would have been even maybe more effective, given that he's got a bit of a repackage. He's got the new trunks. He's with Emma now. They're setting him up to do something with him. That maybe what do you say? Look good, feel good. You go out there and he's like, I look great, I feel great. I'm gonna put on a good performance, and he gets walled by Gunther.
Yeah.
And so for Moss, it's not just all right. I can't just put some fresh trunks on and expect to contend at the highest level. I need to put the work in.
Yeah, right.
And so then he has to go. You tell a story with that of him going and having matches and winning and losing, wins and learns, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's potentially stories to be told by someone get absolutely annihilated in the ring if they follow through with it. But I mean, this is one of those matches where it was competitive enough that it was 10 minutes long and it wasn't boring, but it wasn't so competitive that you actually thought Moss had a chance and therefore would really get elevated through the match itself.
Yeah, I feel they really needed to give this match like 20 solid minutes for us to get that from it. And they just didn't, I guess they just didn't have time. And Moss wasn't able to, and the booking of the match, it's like match booking. They weren't able to really show us, hey, this guy has what it takes. If he just gets a little bit more time or reps or experience, then he might be able to get it done.
It just felt like we need a 1 week feud for Gunther to defend the title on SmackDown. Let's have this match. Who wins? Moss, sure.
Yeah, right. And it's not terrible for Moss. I mean, the dude's on TV. He's more featured now than he was in the first couple months of the Triple H era. He's got Emma with him, which I think is good. They're like a real life thing. So Gunther got the win, and there you go.
It's just one of those things that it doesn't really seem like Moss gained the whole lot.
I know. Yeah, he was on TV. He was on TV. Yeah, right. But it doesn't do much else.
With a well-booked match, you could gain from losing. It just didn't necessarily feel that way.
Yeah. I love this name here in our chat. Uncle Saudi says Moss could have got his ass kicked and kept kicking out.
Yeah.
If he just kicked out of like one of those power bombs or whatever it was, he uses.
Or if he just stood in the middle of the ring and told Walter to chop him repeatedly.
Yeah, something like that. Trade blows with the guy. Yeah. So his chest is hamburger.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we get into the recap, I want to give a shout out here to new YouTube channel members and returning YouTube channel members: Not Tango, Soul Klepto, Henry T, Hamish Jarvis, Nick's Third Nipple, John Hosey, Kean Lawrence, Lawn Kill, JD's Ultra Sick, Jin Port, and Dark Knight. Thank you so much for your YouTube memberships. We appreciate it. And
thank you.
All those people, man, they got till noon tomorrow, along with
about 16 hours.
Along with patrons at $5 and up. You guys can participate in our Elimination Chamber Predictions Challenge, where if you continue to be a YouTube channel member and a $5 patron, you can go into March Predictions Challenge, where Big Red is going to be on the line at Revolution and walk in potentially with a point or two. But you got to get everything right in order to get 2 points heading into the next Predictions Challenge. You can get the advantage with this month's Predictions Challenge. Thanks again for your membership. You get bonus content. Just click on join for those YouTube memberships. We're at 100, and I think we're probably like 180 at this point.
That's awesome.
Man, I want to get us. Yeah, we're at 183. I want to get us to that 200 number, man. I want to get it to 200.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
Let's get into SmackDown, Steve. Show kicked off. They had a brief memorial for Jerry Jarrett before the SmackDown open video package, and then we right into the action. There's a lot of in-ring action tonight. There wasn't a whole lot of talking during the show, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Kicked off with Natalya and Shotzi taking on Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler. It's the start of WWE booking Ronda and Shayna as dominant tag team.
Yeah, looks like it.
Because they're probably going to challenge for the tag titles at WrestleMania.
Definitely seems like it.
I would suspect. So that meant they got the win here. Hats off to Shotzi for hitting that DDT spot on Ronda on the apron, though. Oof. And hell of a sell by Ronda spiking on the apron like that.
You got to love they went back to that well, because a lot of people clowned him for – that's a hard spot.
Yeah, it
Look,
is.
that is a tough spot, and 9 times out of 10, they'll probably hit it. And the one time they didn't, it was on TV, and a lot of people clowned it. They hit that move to perfection tonight, and hats off to them for doing that and hitting it good. I hope that's all on Twitter now, that they got it right and people are giving them their flowers, man.
Because when that spot connects, holy cow, it's crazy. It's a crazy spot. So the finish saw Shotzi and Natalya set up for heart attack. But while Natalya's running the ropes, Shayna trips her up, and then Ronda puts the armbar on Shotzi, and Shotzi has to tap. They gave it a ton of time. It was a really good match. Check it out.
Yeah, no, it was a really good match. I hope I see that in GIF form on Twitter, the DDT spot on the apron.
Heck yeah.
After that, Hit Row are in the ring. They're going to do a quick impromptu rap segment. They run down the crowd a little bit, make a poutine joke as we see Bray Wyatt's logo appear. Bray's music hits, big pop. Lights back on. By the way, shout out to Chris Garrix and his notes.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks
so much,
once
Chris.
again, Chris. We appreciate it on the short notice here doing Smackdown. So Bray and Uncle Howdy are on the apron. Bray's wearing that mask that he wore at the end of the Lights Out match. Bray unmasks himself. But they have to go dark again, and they have to do the silence thing because the crowd's chanting, "Holy shit!" These network censors, man. Oh, they're the worst. Anyways, so they just wipe the floor with Hit Row really quick. B-Fab gets out, but then they take out the other two guys, Mandible Claw into his sister Abigail, for both dudes. So Bray says, "You're welcome, Montreal." You're welcome, Montreal. You're welcome, Montreal. Excuse me, now that I'm once again in control of myself, my family, I wanted to be the first to tell you, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, whichever walks out alive, note, you should run. And then backstage, we got the Brutes and Drew hyping themselves up for their tag match. Banger after banger after banger in the bus.
Then the Madcap Moss is backstage. He's talking to Emma. He says, "You know what? No one expected me to be here." And she says, "Well, I did all along." And says, "You're a superstar."
That's so nice. It's very lovely. It's very lovely. After that, oh boy. Oh, Larson, where's your heat face? Because Ariel Helwani was in the chat. Was in the crowd getting hot heat from one Tony Khan. So let's just go ahead and talk about this really quick. So Ariel Helwani, he's been all about WWE lately, doing interviews.
Well, of course, also he said that his interview with Tony Khan was one of the worst interviews he ever had. Yeah,
he said that as well. Because he was trying to press him on questions and Tony Khan didn't want to answer said questions. So Tony Khan tweeted this after Helwani showed up on WWE programming. "You're a fraud, Ariel Helwani. You're as legitimate of a reporter as Tony Schiavone." And then Ariel responded, "Just 8 minutes ago." Says, "Thanks for watching, old friend. Can't wait for our next chat. Also, don't listen to the snowman, Schiavone. You're a legend in my books." What's the snowman reference to? What is the snow? Could somebody in chat let us know? Somebody said, I call him a snowman. Is that a new term? Means. Is that like something the kids are using these days? Hey, Larson, you're a snowman.
I don't know how to take that.
Oh, cocaine.
Oh, wow.
Cocaine, it is a Coke reference. Hey, look, we're a couple of nerds, okay? We like booze, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard snowman, I was like, oh, it could be. That could be it.
Oh, I love it. Wow. Dang.
Wow.
Woo.
Wow. All right. Well, next match, Banger Brothers taking on the Viking Raiders. Oh, wow.
He's a Coke bear.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the mascot for Concord.
There we go.
Concord, California.
So another really good match. They gave a ton of time. This match was great.
Oh, which one are we talking about right now? Oh, my God.
Brothers.
Yeah, this match was awesome.
This was tons of fun.
There was a lot of really good matches tonight.
There was a lot of good wrestling tonight. Banger Brothers get the win here. Like Sheamus is trying to get a bro kick off like 3 different times and can't do it.
Yeah.
And there's the finish saw Eric and Ivar put I think Drew up for Ragnarok, And then Ivar sees Sheamus setting up for bro kick, and his eyes get huge, and his mouth gets agape.
Yeah.
He does that, bang, bro kick, and then Drew hits Eric with a Claymore to get the win. It was a really well executed finish.
Yeah, it was a really physical match. There was one awesome moment. What was it? Sheamus had Rowe up in like a fireman's carry or something. He gets up on the second rope and he does like the little senton flipping thing or whatever.
Somersault senton deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And Drew, the crowd gasped, and Drew was like, "Holy shit! What was that?"
Yeah.
That was really cool stuff. Yeah. That was a hell of a match, dude.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
There was one little botchy moment where I think it was Rowe again tried to get Sheamus up for
a power bomb. Yeah.
Power
caught
bomb.
him when he was trying to do a bro kick or a knee, and then just too much momentum. He fell over. Yeah.
The only reason I bring it up, look, mistakes happen. The only reason I'm not clowning anybody. The only reason I bring it up is that it looked like after that, Sheamus got a little snug with Rowe. Maybe I was just expecting it. Maybe I was projecting. I don't know.
Always works snug, man.
He does, but that knee came really close to that dude's face, man. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Another win for the Banger Brothers.
Gonna take the bus into town tonight, man.
Yeah, maybe another team to be setting up for some potential tag team gold in the future. Then we're backstage. Kayla interviews Rey Mysterio. They replay the segment from last week where Rey and Santos chatting, exchange mass. It was a really cool bit. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Whether they align together or feud or somehow both.
What would you rather see? I want to see both. The first they align, then they feud.
Yes, I was going to say that. First they align, then they feud.
Or, you know what? Feud first, then align.
Either way.
Right? There's no loser in that
matches,
situation.
Friends.
Speaking of friends, JD's ultra sick here in the chat with a super chat. Says, I've been watching you two gents for a few months now. Just want to say thank you to dudes for always entertaining me. Sami for champion. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So Ray says, I know it meant a lot to him, to Santos, and it meant the world to me. Competition is always welcome. And then Carrion steps in and says, you know something, Ray? I wanted to be a dad one day. When I saw the look of disgust and lack of respect your son had for you, I thought maybe it's not for me. Unlike you, I can walk around without a mask without being a pathetic excuse for a father. But that's Scarlett's opinion. Go do something about it, Ray.
Oof. I like for all the sort of pseudo supernatural bluster that Karrion Kross entered the company with.
Yeah.
Now he's just clowning people for being bad dads.
I know.
Relentlessly. This Ray thing has been going on forever.
It's pretty much about, Ray, you're such a terrible father, convinced me that I wasn't going to have children.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Scarlett no longer wants kids because we saw how bad you are. Yeah. After that, we had another banger match, Asuka versus Liv Morgan. I like this because they brought out all the participants for the Elimination Chamber to sort of watch this, to scout this. They had, of course, it's in the same place tomorrow, so they had the chamber up, hovering above. Not hovering, it was just lifted up.
Well, we don't know. We didn't see any sort of change or support.
It's entirely possible. They got some anti-gravity equipment on the chamber, man. I don't know what's going on there.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah, anyway.
Entirely possible.
So, yeah, Asuka versus Liv Morgan. Asuka ends up tapping out Liv Morgan into like a Rings of Saturn here.
Yeah, she started using the Rings of Saturn rather than the Asuka lock of late.
Yeah, but this was a hell of a match, man. This was really good stuff.
It was good. And Carmella was on commentary. She's always great when she's on commentary.
Oh, she's hilarious, dude.
And like Nikki at various points was standing on the announce table, like kind of sitting next to Carmella in her chair.
Yeah, man.
Nikki was wildly entertaining out there on commentary, just reacting to the match. She didn't have the headset on or anything like that.
I love it. It just seems more and more everybody in WWE since the Triple H stuff just sort of understands who they are and what they're supposed to be. So many times back in the day was like, man, it's clear this person has no idea who they're supposed to be.
I keep on going back to what Mox said about Vince. I know who you are. That's what Vince said to him when Dean Ambrose didn't want to do something.
Yeah. I wouldn't see Triple H saying, I know you
I
better.
wouldn't see that either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see that either. No. So after the match, after Asuka gets the win, Carmella goes in there, super kicks Asuka. Natalya goes after Carmella. Nikki takes her out, and then Raquel hits her finish on Nikki. And then Raquel offers to help up Liv, and they kind of have a bit of a stare down. they're friends, and then look at the chamber, and then Liv hits Raquel with a code breaker, and then Asuka kicks Raquel, and then Asuka and Liv have a stare down for a bit.
It's a friendly stare down. Dude, I love how much, like, doesn't it, Elimination Chamber feel, it just feels like a big deal. And it's not, I mean, it's the main event for sure.
Yeah.
But like, especially with the women tonight, they really got across. Everybody was out there scouting this match. The specter of the chamber above them, they really put over how big of a deal this was. I mean, Sami did a hell of a job in his promo saying, yeah, everybody points to the WrestleMania sign, but Elimination Chamber is the thing. Yeah. Doesn't feel like it. It's been a while since anything's felt like a B-level pay-per-view.
Yeah. Yeah. Then Ariel Helwani's in the crowd again, talking about how it's been 30 years since the Canadians have won the cup. Desperate for a victory, and then we're backstage. Gunther's being interviewed. He says, I don't care what Madcap says. He got where he is. Congratulations. Even in the words of a nice girl, for 250 days, I've been champion, and Moss will fall to the ring general.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do these watch-alongs. I don't get everything when they do the promos, so I don't know the cadence of...
I think, and then like I assume Chris is getting this right.
Yeah.
He's gonna start fucking with it at some point. He's gonna like, you know, even when I like to walk around in my little girl's dress, you know, it's like, what? Chris, did he really say this? Yeah, guys, really. Anyways, we're back to no, we already got that part. So yeah, then we had our last match of the night, Madcap Moss versus Gunther. And yeah, like it's funny because like midway through this match, I think you said something during our stream like, shouldn't Gunther be like, you know, destroying this guy's chest right now? Has he even given him one chop yet?
Yeah. And right before I said that, he delivered the first chop, and then I mean I don't know if they really should have set this up in some capacity with Moss going in there proving that I deserve this spot. I belong at this level. And if it's not going to be a hyper-competitive match that Gunther just barely ekes out a victory, then it's got to be Moss stepping up to Gunther and saying, all right, I might get my ass kicked, but I'm going to take everything you got.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot more than what you expect to keep me down. And we just didn't get I didn't really feel like we got either of those things.
I feel like this could have been like a big moment for Moss, you know?
Yeah.
But they're not all going to be. Sometimes, you know, you do your best and then see how it works out. Yeah. I don't know. For all I know, at the very last minute, they said, hey, we got to chop this by entirely 7 possible. Minutes, you know.
And what they chopped out was all of Moss's offense, yeah. Not that he didn't get any offense in, he got some, but again, it really didn't achieve either of the goals you think it would. Finish saw a fall away slam for Moss, gets a 2 count. Gunther puts him in a sleeper, and he has that on there for a while, and then transitions to a power bomb to get the win. Not enough chops for my liking, but you know, maybe another day for Gunther.
I mean, his chest started to get a little hamburgerish, but we like the PCO, like ultimately PCO levels of just
or Jericho
purple.
When his chest was bleeding.
Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was horrible.
Against Ishii, yeah.
It was pretty amazing. When I say horrible, I mean amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
So anyways, Sami then comes out. He's got his old music, baby. He's got the old music. You know, all that stuff. There you go. You better be careful. Might get a copyright hit, dude. So anyways, the crowd, I mean, dude, I can't even, we can say the words. The crowd was absolutely nuts in the biggest way possible.
It doesn't even do the reaction justice, though, when you say it like that.
Right, exactly. I don't know how should I do a Pacino? You know, would that get across? The crowd was absolutely nuts. Soruka level nuts. Didn't even do it. Then, you know, even that doesn't do it.
No, it doesn't really, because it was not just loud, it was prolonged.
Yeah, exactly.
It was loud.
It was forever. He went out there at what was it, like 9 minutes till?
It was, 9 or 10 minutes till, yeah.
And it was like 5 before he actually get a word in. He was crying.
Yeah.
He spoke a bunch in French. As I said before, there were a bunch of fuck you Roman chants. Mm-hmm. Then he says, this time of year, everyone points to one thing. He points to that giant WrestleMania sign. He says, year after year, we say that's the most important show. And it's true. But for me and this city, this is when he's screaming. I'm not going to do that because of my voice. This is once.
Scream as Al Pacino?
This is once in a lifetime. Roman Reigns. Wow, Chris actually got the words here. He says in his words, listen up. And then he says something rude to him in Francais. And he says, tomorrow night isn't Roman versus Sami. It's Roman versus Sami in the entire city of Montreal. Tomorrow night, you're going down. My voice is already starting to give out from doing Al Pacino.
Oh dear, sorry.
How about I'll do it in Austin. Tomorrow night isn't Roman versus Sami. It's Roman versus Sami in the entire city of Montreal. Tomorrow night, you're going down.
Is that even easier on your voice?
What's
I
that?
feel like it is.
Honestly, the Austin's in a different place.
That's interesting.
When I try to yell Jay Uso, the
All
J part, or if I try to yell hey, that kills me. But it's in a different place than Austin. Austin's in a different place in my throat.
All right, say Jay Uso is Stone Cold.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. It'll probably fuck it up. Oh, no, I get it. Jay Uso. Hey. Yeah, when I do that versus my actual voice, it's weird.
Oh, versus your actual voice even.
Yeah.
Not just Al Pacino. Interesting.
Right, yeah. Hey. Yeah. Anyways. And then the crowd sings along with them. Dun, 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 dun. They're doing the ole, 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 ole. Yeah, Maggie's right. If we keep it at William Regal at this point.
Calm, sedate.
Jay Uso. See, that's easy.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Interesting.
You want to answer some questions?
Sure, I'm here on the Patreon.
I've got a YouTube thread up on the community thread.
Sounds good. Blake Whitehouse here asks, if a draft happens after Mania, which wrestlers do you think would benefit greatly from a brand change? Blake says, Karrion Kross and Liv Morgan need it most. Kross going to Raw, that could be good. Because
I agree with that.
Feud with Lashley. Maybe because like Kross's style, natural style, is more of a catch wrestling type deal.
Yeah, I know, dude. They still have him doing that shit where he's like shuffling along, and it doesn't make any sense.
I know. Put him in the ring with Lashley. Let them have more of like a wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. I do.
Yeah, Kross going to Raw is a good idea.
Yeah. Derek Brightwell, presuming they can only bring in one, who would be a better signing for WWE from AEW? CM Punk or Kenny Omega?
Kenny Omega.
A million times. So,
without hesitation, Kenny Omega.
Who would get better ratings this first night?
Oh, Phil would.
Yeah, okay. That's the only reason, though.
Yeah, if you want a one-night pop, it's Phil. But if you want someone who will actually probably still be there when his contract it runs out.
Somebody who will leave a longer-lasting legacy during this run, it's going to be Kenny Omega.
Yes. Like if Kenny signs a 3-year deal, you'll wrestle there until the 3-year deal is up. If Phil signs a 3-year deal, so you get 18 months into it and the whole thing blows up. We don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah. Dan Rocket says, if you get to choose who you would pick to take, who would you pick to take the belt off Gunther?
Oh, Gunther? Nobody.
Yeah. You got to give us a name.
He just hands it over when he wins all the other titles.
Oh, they vacated to a tournament?
Sure.
Wow, okay. I got an answer. It's Dom Mysterio. That would be amazing. He could cheat to get it. He has all Judgment Day out there. They Dispatch of Imperium. What's Dom's finish? Frog Splash?
Gunther should never lose. David Matushek, considering that Elimination Chamber is tomorrow, how do you think the crowd should react to the outcome of the main event? Tears of joy or tears of sadness? I'm not going to tell anybody how they should react. People are going to react naturally.
Hysterical laughter.
Hysterical laughter.
Like they just saw a George Wallace set. The comedian, not the guy in the 60s.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. I love George Wallace, man. He's hilarious.
Yeah. George Wallace is hilarious.
Hysterical laughter. That's what it should. I'm gonna
hysterical laughter and whatnot. You right?
Hysterical laughter and shitting themselves.
Oh wow.
Yeah. The loss. Sami Zayn's loss should result in a brown note.
A brown note. I always like when George Wallace tweets something, a joke. It always usually ends in and whatnot.
It does. You're right. It does. And whatnot. Like, you get the point.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hilarious.
Yeah. No, he's great. I don't know, with real emotion. How about that? With real emotion,
genuine emotion. Yeah, because it's going to be the loss, and then probably the reconciliation with Kevin Owens. So you're going to be like, oh gosh, no, Sami lost, but then KO comes to save him, and maybe they get a hug and stuff. Oh, and that's going to feel great.
Yeah, dude. No, I don't know. Just real emotion. We got a returning YouTube member here, RedTube. He's a favorite over at WrestleJuice. Thanks, RedTube. He says if you use time magic to pluck Prime Mr. Perfect from 1990 and current Bobby Lashley and swap them, who would do better? Oh, Bobby Lashley would be WWF champion in 1990. That would happen. That shit would happen.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect would be a upper mid card guy. He'd probably be the guy to take it off Gunther.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Shavon here asks, with his great Intercontinental reign and his amazing showing at the Rumble, is Triple H preparing Gunther to be his own version of Brock and his topple final boss, where when he is defeated, new star will be made. Who do you think that can be? Yes to all that, except no one's going to beat him.
Okay. Or Dom.
New star they're making is Gunther.
Yeah, and the guy to beat him at maybe LA Knight. How about that? LA Knight? Yeah.
No,
not even LA Knight.
Nope.
Does he take Gunther to his limit?
As much as LA Knight can.
I don't know if that's a encouraging answer. All right, here we go. Adam Bull says, out of FTR, the Elite, Jay White, and Ibushi, which company will they all end up in?
All right, one by one.
Number one, say yeah. Two, where?
WWE.
Agreed. The Elite. The Elite.
I wouldn't be surprised to leave AEW, but right now I'll say AEW.
Nah, bro, it's gonna be WWE. You watch. You think 2023 was great? 2022 was crazy. 2024 is gonna be nuts.
Kenny goes WWE. Young Bucks stay in AEW.
Whoa, Michael Miller here on YouTube with the bold claim: LA Knight is awful. Wow. Do they allow timeouts here on YouTube?
I don't know.
We're free.
Was there another name on there on that list?
Yeah. The knife pervert, Jay White.
WWE.
Agreed. Kota Ibushi.
He's going to wrestle wherever he wants to.
He's going to wrestle like on Jupiter.
Yeah.
The Jupiter
I don't think he's going to
Wrestling
sign a
Federation.
full-time deal to wrestle anywhere.
I
He'll be
agree.
at WWE like 6 months. Maybe go to AEW for a little bit. Maybe Impact. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, man, Maggie stepping up. Defending the good name of LA Knight. Timing out Michael Miller.
Wow.
It's all in good fun, Michael.
It is.
Anyways, oh wow, not a chance. Eduardo asks, is Lacey Evans an early front runner for the Baron Corbin Award? No. Von Wagner, we might actually rename that award the Von Wagner Award.
Yeah, if he wins again, then yeah.
I didn't think somebody could be more Baron Corbin than Baron Corbin, but Von Wagner is literally the epitome of the Going in Raw Wrestler of the Year award.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, Maggie said I was just testing, but now I can untime him out.
All right.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Michael Miller, you getting timed out around here? Yeah.
Yeah. Jack Napier. Was he rating Axis Chemical?
Anonymous tip. Napier's rating Axis Chemicals.
That's when Damian Priest first turned on Edge. It appeared he could be the one running Judgment Day, but it has not been the case. Do you think that would cause him to turn on Judgment Day at some point? Nah, Damian Priest seems totally cool with it.
Priest doesn't want to be a leader, man. Nope. This guy wants to just get his lines right. And if he does that,
he's like, there's no leaders
happy.
in Judgment Day now after they kicked Edge out.
Right. And Finn's like, oh, I'm the leader. He'd be like, cool, bro.
Yeah, no worries.
No worries from me. Where are we going to lunch? Where are the ladies at? White Brownie says, what are the chances WWE gets Kota Ibushi to help jumpstart NXT Japan? I get the feeling that with the sale going down, I don't even think NXT Europe's going to be a thing, dude. I really don't. I think maybe they're going like business as usual, but I don't know. Those are kind of like big deals, like to set all that shit up. I just don't know.
I could see those being put in the back burner till the sale goes through and then reevaluating then. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Kyle here asks, who do you think will return post-Mania? Kyle thinks Nakamura could come back.
Oh, I hope so. I hope he gets a little kick in the pants. They give him like a, I don't know. Number one, give him his original NXT theme back.
Yes. With and entrance with strobe lights and everything.
Down. I can do that with
and then you bring Kota Ibushi in for a run.
Ooh.
And you have them have a match. Because their match Wrestle Kingdom 9 is one of my favorite matches ever.
I have heard it's amazing.
It is amazing.
I know. I understand.
It's
I've
so
heard
good.
That. It's great. It's not as good as great.
It is great. You should watch it.
I mean, yeah. Absolutely.
Should now, immediately.
All right. New Japan World.
Well, let's finish the show first.
Well, you just said now.
I know, but it's a figure of speech.
All right. I don't understand that. I only accept literal. All right, man. That's going to do. You have any good questions on the Patreon left?
That's all of them, I think.
The rest are stinkers.
Sorry, Alex Foster asks, how is Kevin Owens a babyface? Did he put Ezekiel in a coma?
How is Kevin Owens a babyface? Yeah. Well, people didn't really, I don't know.
Did anybody really like Ezekiel?
I don't think so. I thought it was hilarious honestly, I thought it was hilarious when it first happened. When I first saw that fool, I was like, oh my God, this dude shaved his beard and is playing a different person. That's amazing. That's fantastic. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, listen, man, if y'all are going to be in the Northern California area tomorrow and you're like, I want something to do after Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Come to Sacramento, get on Eventbrite, buy a ticket for Action Coast Wrestling. I'm going to be there. Larson can't be there, but it's not my fault this time.
Not your fault this time.
Is it a thick line or a thin line now, man?
Maybe slightly thinner. Maybe.
Little on the thinner side? Oh, man.
Maybe.
I like them thick. Anyways, come hang out at Action Coast Wrestling. I'm going to be there. Dark Dangaluch is going to be there. Sean from Quiznos is going to be there. Going to watch some live pro wrestling. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.